Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel, and for today's video we'll be going over how to win every single Nike sneakers draw to get your hands on the latest sneaker releases. Quickly before we start, Instagram and Twitter is going to be at the bottom of your screen as always, so go follow me there. And for anyone who hasn't done so already, please consider subscribing because these videos take a lot of time to edit and film, so I'd really appreciate if you guys could go and do that. And I've also got a new setup here. I've got a couple lights and I've got the camera a bit closer to me, so let me know what you guys think about that. Leave it in the comments below. Yeah, today's video is how to win on Nike sneakers. Let's start with a couple of reasons why you'd want to win on that. So as you guys know, the prices of sneakers are sky high at the moment, as they always are. Actually, to be fair, they have gone a bit lower because of the current situation with the virus that is going on, but usually sneaker prices are always higher than retail unless it's a shoe which bricks. So if you guys don't know what the meaning of brick is, it's just basically where it doesn't sell and it just sits on shelves all the time in your retailers. Or, you know, they have it online which you can still purchase like a couple of weeks after the release date. So this is actually a manual jig, so you don't need to use a bot or anything like that, so there's no extra cost for the most part. You can still win without purchasing anything, but I would recommend a couple of things to purchase, which I'll go through on later in the video. Yeah, so a couple of reasons why you'd want to do it is because of course you might want a shoe one week, you might not be the biggest sneaker fan, you want to get one shoe that's coming. So this Saturday 18th is going to be the Defining Moments DMP Jordan 6s, and I know a couple of people who are not really the biggest fan of sneakers, but they want to get that shoe in particular for the history and, you know, the style of it. Keep watching this video because this will tell you how to get that and how to get other shoes like that. Yeah, the first reason is because you only want to get maybe one shoe. The resale prices for these always go up, so you know, people actually buy these bots which can automatically win you the draws and then they sell it on to make a profit. Obviously, you know, if you have the opportunity to get a shoe for a lower price, for retail price, instead of paying resale, obviously you want to go for that. So there's three types of drops that are usually on the Nike Sneakers app: Flow, Leo and Dan drops. And for anyone who doesn't know, Flow is basically a first come first serve, which is like the general releases. For example, the UNC 3s that I just got recently, one of my newest pickups, or the what other ones? Black Cement 3s were general release. So for these first come first serve drops, you have to be really quick. In the UK it drops at 8 AM all the time, so for that you need to be up at 8 AM, even like probably 10 minutes before 7:50, so you got your things ready and you know what to do. If you're there, you're there basically. If you try to get it 10 minutes later, it's not going to work. Whereas for the other ones, for example, if you're there 10 minutes later, you may still be able to get the shoe because they're raffles. This method will not work for that. The second type of drop is a Leo drop. Leo drops is where you have 2 to 3 minutes to put in as many accounts as possible. So Leo is 2 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes roughly, maybe a bit more, but it doesn't usually go above 5 minutes. And this is pretty much for most of the shoes. So if it's not a general release, it will be this, but for the most hype shoes, you would get a Dan drop, and a Dan drop is where you have 30 minutes to enter as many accounts as possible. So the people who have 50 Nike sneakers accounts, they've got a 50 chances of getting that shoe. Leo and Dan basically the same thing, but Leo is 2 to 3 minutes, whereas Dan is about 20 to 30 minutes. So now we know the types of drops that happen on Nike sneakers. Let's go into the way to go ahead and actually win the draw. So you want to get a shoe. What's the absolute first step that you have to do to win a Nike sneakers draw? And that is get an account. If you have one account, you don't really have that much chance of winning it compared to someone who has 50 accounts. So me personally, I have 15 accounts and I'll tell you how to get them. I'm 15 times more likely to get it over someone who has just one account. So that's the first thing you want to do. Obviously you can win with that one account, but it's really, really unlikely. So if you want to raise your chances, then you'll have to get more than one account. Just bear in mind that every account you have to have a different phone number. If you have the same number on 2 different accounts, then only one of those will work. So for each account that you have, make sure that you have a different phone number attached to that. So there's other ways that you can get Nike sneakers accounts with mobile phones already on them, and that's already verified, because when you put your phone number into your account, it will send you a code which you have to put in, like a verification code. So you can get these accounts from online retailers who sell them. You know, prices can range between, you know, £5 for 10 all the way to £50, depending on the quality of the account. But for me, I have accounts which are already verified for a lifetime, and if for some reason one doesn't work, I can contact the retailer and they'll give me another account replacement. I can't remember exactly what it's called, but in the description I'll leave the links of my top places to get Nike sneakers accounts. If you don't want to spend any money, you don't have to. You can have 3 different accounts with 3 different phone numbers. Ask your family, ask your friends for the verification code by putting their numbers in the different accounts, and just have, I'd say, a minimum you'd want is 5. So you're 5 times more likely to get it over someone else. Ideal amount you'd probably want 10, but you can even get 100 if you wanted to. And if you've got the time to type in your address 100 times and your details 100 times into the accounts, by all means go and do that. But me, 15, 5 minimum, but aim to get at least 10 accounts, so you have 10 times more chance of getting it. So now you've got all your accounts, the second step is to make different Google Chrome profiles. So what that means is if you go into I'll leave a screenshot, but if you go into the top right of your screen onto your picture, you will see all the different profiles that you have, and you'd want to have the same amount of profiles as you have accounts. Taking my example again, at the moment I have 15 accounts on my computer. 10 accounts have 10 profiles, for example. So yeah, just depending on how many accounts you have, make sure that you have that many profiles. It would sort of trick Nike Sneakers into thinking that you're a different person, because you don't want to get IP banned. IP banning is basically where Nike Sneakers will look at the amount of raffle entries that you're putting in your account. So if you've got 5 accounts and you've got 5 on the same Wi-Fi address, then they'll look at that and they'll void the other entries and only keep 1. So this doesn't get you banned in the sense that you can't ever apply for any of the raffles again, but for that draw in particular that you want to get, you won't be entered into it. So there's a couple of steps that you can take to prevent this. The first one is creating multiple Google Chrome users, and the second one is using a VPN. If you're botting, you'll know what proxies are. It's basically stopping you from getting IP banned as well. You can purchase them if you want, but they're very expensive, and I don't use that because that's something that I don't really feel that I need to get it. But if you 100% want to win, it might be a good option to keep that in mind, and it might be a good investment for future drops. So as we said earlier, you can use your Chrome profiles to prevent that, and there's also VPNs, which I highly recommend you invest in a good VPN. There's millions of free options that you can get through different apps and things like that you can download on your device. For me, I use an application, I use a Chrome extension called UVPN, and I'll leave the link in the description for that as well to download that. Nike Sneakers are really cracking down on a lot of the VPNs, but for the most part that I've realized, UVPN is probably the best in this situation right now to win the draws. Yeah, my recommendation is UVPN, but obviously you can go onto Google, do your research as well, type in good VPNs for Nike Sneakers, but for me personally, I use UVPN and that's worked perfectly for me so far. Yeah, so you want to invest in a good VPN, do your research, make sure when you're doing your research you type in best VPNs for Nike Sneakers. I'd recommend only using 3 accounts per IP address. If you're using more than 3, then most likely you'll get cracked down by Nike Sneakers and they'll just disqualify you from the draw. Okay, so once you actually have your accounts now, you've got your multiple Chrome users, and now you've got your VPN. This is when you're actually putting in your details into your Nike Sneakers account. Each time you're putting in your address in your account, change it by like a figure or so. So for example, if I live at 123 Test Street, I can do 123 Test Street in the first account. In the second account, I can do 123 Test STR. Third account, 123 Test ST dot. So just change it like a little bit so you still know where the address is, but it's not the exact same thing that you're putting into the other account. For this, you can use the same address twice. You don't want to risk getting banned from that draw. Change it a tiny bit at a time so they know where to deliver the shoe if you win, but it's not the exact same that you've put into a different account. So just keep that in mind when you're filling in your details. Another question that a lot of people ask is, can I use the same credit or debit card on all of the accounts? The answer is yes and no at the same time. For probably about 3 accounts, you can probably use the same credit card or debit card. The solution is actually depending on the location that you're in. So if you're in the US, you use Token app. If you're in the EU, you use Revolut. It creates sort of these shadow cards for your debit card. So if I put my debit card into Revolut at the moment now, I can make 5 different virtual cards for that credit card, and it will generate different numbers and different expiry dates and things like that, but the money will be coming from your account. So that's what I use for putting my credit card or debit card information into the Nike sneakers account. There are a couple errors that you may get with the VPN just because of how the draw is quite hectic at times. I'll leave screenshots of the different problems that you have and you may have, and if you do have any of these two, easiest and quickest thing to do, refresh the page. You can also turn the VPN on and off. It's quite basic, but a lot of people get stuck at this point, so that's the two things that you want to do. You can also uninstall and reinstall it if you'd like, if it really doesn't work, but for me, I've realized that those two things, turning it on and off and refreshing the page, works perfectly fine for me. Okay, and the last thing is, once you've done everything, you've got your accounts, you've got your multiple Chrome users, and now you entered the draw in all of them. If you do win, how do you track your package if it's on someone else's email from the people that you bought it from? This is actually a really good question because a lot of people don't ask, and then if they do win, they don't know the tracking information for the parcel. As I said earlier, F3 for Mac and Windows and Tab for Windows will show you every single tab that you've got open. What you want to do is, once you've added your entry into your draw, don't close out of that tab. Press Windows and Tab or F3, and that will show you all of them, and then you will either get your your famous got 'em page. For the ones that say didn't got 'em, you can close them, but for the ones that say got 'em, you can go into there, note down your email and password that you put in for that account, and then log in on your phone with that email and password that you've won it from, and then you can see all your tracking information on there. I think this is probably the easiest and the quickest way. Instead of flicking through each tab individually, just press Windows and Tab or F3 and you'll see it all in a list, and it's much easier than going back and forth between tabs. That's it for this video, guys. Hope you really enjoyed, and the final thing to say is good luck for entering the draws. And at the end of the day, the more work that you put in, the more end product you'll get out. The more accounts you have, the better it is. And thanks for watching, guys. If you did enjoy the video, please hit the like button and subscribe, because it really helps me out and shows me that there's people actually interested in my videos. And yeah, until next time, guys, I'll see you later.